Our last video, we talked about elements and classified elements as metals, non-metals, and metalloids. Remember, we talked about the fact that an element is made up of only one kind of atoms or one type of atom. So in that, we also made mention of the fact that two or more atoms can join together to form what is called molecules of elements. This morning, we want to see when we have combination of two different atoms, what we're going to have. And that's what led us to compound. That's what led us to compound. So if you've seen aluminum plates before, you've seen aluminum. Aluminum is an element, but we have another thing that is compound, maybe aluminum oxide. Now we breathe in oxygen. Oxygen is an element. Now we have water. Water is a compound made from element oxygen and hydrogen. So this morning we want to see what a compound is. So you are welcome to class. A compound is a pure substance formed when two or more different elements chemically combined. Or you can also say a compound is a substance which contains two or more elements, two or more different elements that are chemically combined. In any way you want to state it, the most important thing is that compound is a pure substance, is a substance, and it contains two or more different elements, and also they are chemically combined. So we are going to talk about a case where we have two or more different elements that are physically combined and they are not necessarily chemically combined. For instance, if you have your brass and bronze, so we'll be talking about that when we get to mixtures. Example of a compound is water. Water is common. Water contains hydrogen and oxygen. So we have two hydrogen atoms and one oxygen atom. So in this case, water is triatomic compound. Water contains three atoms of three atoms. So we have how water is chemically formed. Hydrogen combines with oxygen to form water. Hydrogen combine chemically with oxygen to form water. So you see that's why we have H2O. If I am to write this as equation as a chemist, hydrogen, 2 moles of hydrogen combining with 1 mole of oxygen, giving me 2 moles of water. So if you're reading this, so we have here, we have 2 moles of hydrogen. I remember we talked about diatomic, hydrogen is diatomic and oxygen is also diatomic. So when we're writing this in equation, we write them like this, H2O2, because they are diatomic. So we have this to give us 2H2O, that's 2 molecules of water. Is that understood? So another example of compound that we have is carbon dioxide or carbon 4 oxide. So we now use carbon 4 oxide, no more carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is used in basic schools, not in senior schools. Take note of that, carbon 4 oxide. So carbon 4 oxide is formed from carbon and oxygen. When carbon combined with oxygen, carbon 4 oxide is formed. So we have this carbon plus oxygen to give CO2. Another example of compound that we have is the sodium chloride. Sodium chloride, NaCl, the table salt that you use at home. You know what? So you would have tasted it in your rice, in beans, in vegetables, in virtually everything that you cook at home. This is the salt that we use. So this is formed from 1 atom of sodium and 1 atom of chlorine. So because these substances are formed from chemical combination of 2 or more different atoms, so we call them compounds. Compounds. Are you with me? Yeah. So one thing you should know about compound is this: the elements in a compound are chemically bonded. they are chemically bonded. It means that they undergo a chemical change in order to form a compound. And because of that, the compound has properties that is different from the elements that form it. So the properties of a compound is usually different from its constituent elements. For instance, hydrogen in water, hydrogen is a gas. Hydrogen is a gas. Oxygen is a gas. But when they combine, they form water, that is a liquid. Water is a liquid. So the properties of the compounds will be different from the properties of the elements that forms that compound. So for instance, in carbon dioxide as well, carbon is a solid. Carbon is solid and oxygen is a gas. But you see, at the end of the day, carbon dioxide is a gas. You would expect it to be, maybe if you had solid and gas, maybe it should be between solid and gas, then you have something like liquid. But it is not like that because this is formed through chemical combination and not physical mixing. Another thing we need to know about the compound is that the compound has a fixed composition. Compound has a fixed composition. When we talk about fixed composition, it means that if you have water in Abuja as H2O, in Enugu, water will be H2O. In Alaska, it's still going to be H2O. In Washington, it is H2O. In Tel Aviv, it is H2O. In Moscow, it is H2O. It means that we have two hydrogen atoms combining with one oxygen atom to form water. That's why you have it. Here you have H2O. H2O means that we have two atoms of hydrogen and one atom of oxygen. That's when we say it has fixed composition. You cannot change carbon dioxide to C2O. It is not done anywhere. Wherever you have it, it's going to be like this, and that's what you're going to have, even in Tokyo. So here we have this. In order to separate a compound, there must be a chemical reaction. So a chemical reaction is needed to form or break down a compound. So it's basically formed as a result of a chemical change. We are still going to be talking about types of changes later, physical and chemical changes. So you need the chemical reactions to break down compounds. You can't just break down compounds through physical means. Now let's see how we read chemical formulae. So when you see chemical formula, now you see H2O, CO2, NaCl that I've used before. So now this is what you see. This small numbers tells us how many atoms are present. So if you have this, like for instance, we have H2O, it's telling us, we've said this earlier, that we have two hydrogen atoms and one oxygen atom. So therefore, the atomicity of this compound becomes 3. So you say atomicity, it has 3 atoms. So water has 3 atoms. Looking at carbon dioxide has 1 carbon, 2 oxygen atoms. 1 carbon and 2 oxygen atoms. So the atomicity is also 3. It has 3 atoms. Look at sodium chloride, 1 sodium, 1 chlorine. If you do not have a number after an element, if you do not have a number after an element, it means you have 1. Is that understood? Yeah. So here we have total atoms. Here we have 2 atoms. Is that understood? Okay, so we have this summary. No small numbers means 1 atom of that element. So the formula represents the composition of that compound. So what we have here, we have 1 carbon, 2 oxygen atoms. That's the composition of the compound. 2 hydrogen, 1 oxygen, the composition of that. So it is made up of just 3 atoms. Understood? All right, so having discussed that, we need to see, oh my, I don't want to go here. Don't want to go here in this video so that the video will be short. Now try this exercise, try this. So what we have, look at this compound. How many atoms do we have here? Na2CO3. So pause the video and try. So in this compound, we have 2 sodium atoms, 2 sodium atoms, we have 1 carbon, and we have 3 oxygen atoms. So altogether we have total of 6 atoms. So this is what we have about compound. I don't want the video to be longer than this. So we have compound is made up of elements, 2 or more different elements that are chemically combined, and they cannot be separated by physical means. They are always homogeneous, and a chemical is a pure substance. So thank you very much for being part of the class. If you have any question, you can drop it in the description. So the note is attached to this in your students app. Thank you.